All right, man. Listen, we got a lot to talk about, so let's just get right into it, man.
God.
We're gonna start off the stream with Indiana Jones because I know that's a hot topic, and I know Atreus wants to jump in on that. He made a funny video on it. I mean, it's interesting because there's a little bit of a dynamic going on, which I'm glad we have Lofty and Leon here because I know Leon's gonna disagree with me, which means Lofty's gonna disagree with me too, most likely. But I am looking at this video, and I'll just put it up on screen here so everybody can have a better understanding of what the fuck we're talking about. So this video is going around. Obviously, it's from the showcase, the Xbox showcase, for Indiana Jones, right? And everybody was hyped for Indiana Jones. Everybody was talking about Indiana Jones. They were saying very positive things about Indiana Jones. And even when I saw the gameplay footage, and I still kind of think for the most part positively, but I do have my concerns, obviously. But everybody was speaking about Indiana Jones in a positive light. And then all of a sudden, they see this video, and suddenly the entire narrative all over X and Twitter has completely changed. And everybody's just like, well, I'm out, peace, I'm done, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, before I play the video, I'm going to ask you guys opinions on it. Please go one at a time because I'm sure you all have very interesting opinions. What does Lofty think? That's going to be the topic of the stream. Lofty and Leon, what do you guys
I was gonna
think?
like I'm copying him if he goes first. Go for it.
What do you think about essentially them claiming that this game is for now modern audiences? They threw that term out there, modern audiences, the famous killer term.
I mean, I understand people not giving them the benefit of the doubt anymore because they say it all the time, and it's just like, why do you keep saying this? But I don't know. Sometimes it could just be like they don't know what the hell how it translates. You know how some people are just ignorant and they're just like modern audience. Maybe I mean it could just mean they're talking about generic Ubisoft formulaic garbage. Like I don't know what they mean by that. But looking at the person, this is what I wanted to say. Edward Curtis Sives. I looked him up, or I don't know what the fuck his pronoun is. What? I looked him up and couldn't find any information about the person. They did some like game like indie game dev stuff, and somehow they're now the lead narrative designer for this game. Guess what doesn't make sense? That
narrative.
And you know why? Guess what they did? They probably wore that shirt into the interview, and then we're just like, "Oh, will you hire me?" And then they
is that actually a guy? I couldn't confirm. You know, you never.
It took me a long time to believe.
I didn't ask how it identifies.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's Chris Chan under a different name.
Yeah, because once I see shaved head on the side and fucking rainbow flag in your shirt, and you're talking about modern audiences, I'm thinking you're probably a tranny. So I need to.
I just thought it was a troll.
Confirm.
I thought the whole thing was a troll.
Bottom line,
I thought it was Photoshop.
It does kind of come off like a
no
Babylon B skit, doesn't it?
Was unwanted.
Exactly. Like I really thought it was a piss take. I actually did. I legitimately thought, oh, I'm not going to cover that. It's obviously just fucking someone having a laugh or whatever.
Well,
then it turned out to be true. So I made a video about it.
When I saw the picture going around on Twitter, I thought it was Photoshop because like people do that shit all the time. They see a trending game right now. It's hot. Everybody's talking about it. And then all of a sudden you see a still shot because it wasn't the video going around. It was a still shot image that looked photoshopped on the bottom. So I'm like, oh, okay. So then I went to go check out the video and I was like, oh no, this shit's real. Fuck. And then that was that. But yeah, no, I do agree. What about you, Atreus? What do you think about this?
The way I looked at it is like, Xbox can't really afford any negative publicity whatsoever, and the fact that this whole reveal was like 90% like let's fucking go. Like, I mean, while I'm not that big of a fan of the first person part of it, I can't deny that the shit looked good. The music looked on point, and I'm not even an Indiana Jones guy like that, but I did play. There was once an Indiana Jones game that I played years ago when I was a kid, and it was interesting, and I thought this looked crazy. You know what I'm saying? I thought it looked great with the whip, with the environments and all that stuff. And then in the fucking middle of it, you reveal this goofball with a shaved head, and he has rainbows everywhere, some weird looking mole in the top right corner of his face. He's whining while he's talking as he's speaking. This shit is garbage. and then you look at the bottom, and it says lead narrative designer, and it's like every second that he's in the video, the stock of the fucking game is just plummeting. And then finally he finishes it off. And it was like a punchline. It's like they wanted you to hear it. They looked you dead in the face. He looked you dead in the face and said, for modern audiences. And that's when I knew. I said, this shit is a shit show. is a fucking shit show, and they're doing it on purpose. So yeah,
What does that mean? How stupid is that?
Okay,
I mean, to say
actually,
something.
here's what I'm hoping it means, because you say what's it mean. To be fair, we have not had an Indiana Jones, because Atreus was saying, oh, Indiana Jones game I played when I was a kid, yada yada. There hasn't, unless you count like Lego Indiana Jones for the Wii, I don't think there's been an Indiana Jones game since the Xbox era and before. So maybe they just genuinely mean it's the first modern game, like the first modern Indiana Jones game, because the Xbox era was what, like 2002? So they would be using.
I know you're trying to get
Let me
show that
because the rest of the game looks good.
You know, damn sure that ain't true.
The trailer and gameplay look good. It just might be a case of them using.
But let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this though. I've seen developers use terms like modern technology, modern
audience
advancements.
Modern,
but
right?
Why modern?
Audience.
Because modern audiences doesn't saying a modern audience doesn't reference the technology. It references
I agree. I think that it was. I think
social
it was a
justice
thing to
term,
say. But let's be real. This is Bethesda as well. They can't even make fucking games nowadays that you don't have like cars clipping through walls. I'm not putting it past them to say something stupid like modern audiences when they should have meant like, hey, this is an Indiana Jones game for people that play games now, not in 2002. Like nothing in the trailer except the Chris Chan wannabe and that phrase was sus.
Leon, you know damn well they don't mean that when they say modern.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
Because what in that trailer looked bad? Aside from that, what in the trailer looked bad? So like nothing. Usually we can.
It doesn't really matter if it looks good or bad.
Okay,
it's Bethesda. The only update they've made to their game engine in the last 20 years is adding pronouns.
Say it doesn't matter if it looks good or not. Leon's gonna for it anyway.
I'm gonna mention something really quick. Hold on, really quick. Time out.
He ain't lying.
Time out. Time out. So here's why I know it's bullshit, right? So, like you said before, there's so many different ways that you can explain bringing a game that hasn't been around for decades, maybe, to a quote unquote modern audience. You don't need to use that specific term. You damn sure don't need to make sure that the person that puts that across to the viewer is the one fucking homosexual that is very clearly on that team for diversity. Right? He is wait. He's also, hold on, Gaite. What makes me even more concerned is that what makes me even more concerned is that he is the lead narrative designer. Narrative. That means that the gameplay could be fantastic.
He is the one.
And like you said, the trailer looked fantastic.
It means Indiana Jones will be kicking it in the ass by mission 3.
Yes, he is the lead narrative designer. That means every decision goes through that fucking shaved head of his. And
he commands how the whole thing needs to be. Yes,
that makes me worried. That's all.
I don't think that. Again, I could be wrong, but I've played a lot of Bethesda games. I really don't think they would be that retarded after we just saw what happened with Indiana Jones 5.
Have you seen what I've done to the modding community of Skyrim? Are you serious right now? They do not even.
I remember my first woke.
Why did you sound like sort of a gay
I remember when it was fancy to be woke.
Guys, let Leon finish. Don't
like. So much of the discourse I've seen on X, and even Atreus did this in his video. I thought it was funny, but I still got to call him out on it. Was so many people they recoiled at want to be Chris Chan, but they also recoiled at the fact there was that female character that was like, see if you can keep up, and then he was like, if I can keep up. And I saw a lot of discourse and dialogue about how the woman's going to usurp Indy in the game. I'm like, anyone that's paid attention to anything Indiana Jones related remembers Marion Ravenwood or Elsa Schneider or Willie Scott. There's always been female characters in Indiana Jones. So aside from dude looks like Chris Chan and has some fucking rainbows coming out of his ass, I don't see anything else to worry about.
Leon, absolutely not.
Go get him. Why the fuck you lying?
In your video, you said that.
I get what you're saying. And once again, I just want to throw it out there. I'm not the biggest Indiana Jones guy, but we're not going to speed past the fact that they said there was another protagonist in the game.
Yeah, the three women I just mentioned were protagonists. They weren't antagonists.
So if I'm playing an Indiana Jones game, because the last Indiana Jones game I played, I only played as Indiana Jones. So if they force us to play as a female character we don't care about, is that not a negative? Because it was a negative. It was a negative.
It depends on if we care about her or not. When we watched the first Indiana Jones and we see Marion Ravenwood, we grew to care about that character. We grew to well, maybe we didn't care about Willie Scott, but we grew to care about Elsa, for example. So like, it depends on if the game is done well enough for us to care about his female partner. With there always is in Indiana Jones stories.
There were characters that I cared about in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer show. Didn't want to play as them in the fucking video game.
There's a lot of awesome Bond.
What was that, Lofty? What'd you say?
There's a lot of awesome Bond women throughout history. It doesn't mean I want to play them in video games. I want to be James Bond.
You're gonna play with them.
That
is kind of the point.
In the game, I would have no issue playing as Marion Ravenwood as long as the star is Indy. Let's say hypothetically it's a 20-level game. If in 8 of those levels you played as Marion, I wouldn't.
That's a lot.
Without even knowing, Spider-Man 2 just did very
separated. In the movies, they get separated. So if you've got
somebody pull up that picture, man.
Like, it depends on how the story is written. It depends on the characters' work. I'm not going to look at one single trailer.
Hold on, Leona. Hold on. Let's see what.
Let me see this.
I want to play this video so we have the context because
no, check your DMs when we're watching this.
No, I did. I'll play that after. Let me play this first. Here we go. What the fuck? Oh.
Every man, he's passionate and determined. And for us, he's synonymous with adventure.
Now we have the opportunity to tell a new Indiana Jones story for a modern gaming audience. Our game is all about putting you in Indy's shoes, letting you see and feel what he sees and feels. For us at Machine Games, we do that.
You're not the first one to say that, buddy. Like every game dev studio says that.
To bring you into the rich, exciting, and interactive world we've built.
10 times the detail.
And personal to the adventure is key, making each action feel like your own.
Did they cut him off? Cracking your whip, solving puzzles in ancient.
You sound like a gay.
Or seeing your knuckles get bloody in a fist fight. All of these moments are much more intense in first person.
Why does she talk like she is in like she's recording for like a softcore porn film? And also, number
she sounds
2,
like she's on the casting couch.
Wait. This guy, as he's talking, is there like a point where like the audio they just immediately cut him off?
Yeah.
Like they were like, oh no, we can't go any further.
It sounds like he's been dubbed with a man's voice, like a masculine voice.
Like he's on
recorded the original take. It was like, we're going to let you play this game to modern audiences. Yay!
All I'm saying was not to play every game because some homo talks positively about it, and we won't be able to play any games ever.
Like, you got to be digging. The only thing, you guys got to be careful when this. I say this all the time. You have to be careful when journalists and actors and random people say things about an agenda that ultimately has nothing to do with the final product. People did this with Mario. People did this with a bunch of things. They always, pray. They're like, some journalists will come out and say that it's like represents LGBT or whatever. And it turns out the movie or whatever doesn't. And it's like, you got to separate that. That's not the same thing as marketing. Okay. That's propaganda. That's journalism. This person is the narrative designer. And keep it, like I said earlier, they have no experience. Why are they even here?
Because they're cheats.
I know. It's the haircut. It's the rainbow.
It's not even.
There's no way it's
That's why they got hired, mind you. I'm not saying that obviously they're a fucking diversity hire. All I'm saying is that there are also a lot of other individuals who are writing these games, and so far as narratively speaking, I haven't been disappointed in very many Bethesda games. I wasn't disappointed in either the Evil Within games. I wasn't disappointed in any of the Fallout games. Like, narratively speaking, I've not seen a lot of this garbage in modern Bethesda stuff.
But that's never.
I think the issue here, Leon, is that this is owned by Disney, and when it comes to the final straw, Disney owns the rights to everything. Disney has an agenda. They're going to push it. Microsoft's going to go along with it because that's their agenda. So the game might look great, but you're going to see stuff in there that's going to turn you off, and it's not going to fit the game. The game looks great.
Where do you draw that line?
You know what though? Avatar. I played the new Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. That's a Disney game. It's Ubisoft. there's nothing woke in that game. It's very much an Avatar simulator. It's like
wasn't
the most
much
woke
that was
thing
woke
is like,
about
oh, we got to protect the planet. It's like, okay, well, so who cares? Like,
But look what they did.
James Cameron.
Look what they did with Spider-Man 2.
I know, but
They
that's
totally
Insomniac.
did-
That's Sony. That's not.
Mhm.
That's not.
Yeah.
Okay, but still,
It's
like it's.
No, you're right. With Mary
Yeah.
Jane, with the I don't want to play her in a game. I don't want to run
Yeah.
around with a taser. What is this, Sonic?
Why
2?
not? You
That
one
shit is
shot
so
everybody. I would want to run around. It's the
No,
easiest
I'm
character to
glad
play
you
as.
brought up Spider-Man 2 though, because that's a perfect. It's about where do you draw? Like Spider-Man 2, way over the edge. Yeah, I would absolutely draw the line and say that Spider-Man 2 is obscenely woke and for my personal preference is unplayably woke, as opposed to something like Starfield had some minor shit to it that really wasn't a big deal in the grand scheme of things. To me, there was nothing ideologically unplayable about Starfield. Now there might be some gameplay stuff or whatnot that was, but as far as ideology goes, Starfield was fine. So it's just about where you draw that line and what you value versus how much you're willing to give and take.
Well, nowadays I don't even bother buying or watching when anything comes out by either Disney or any of these companies. I don't hold my breath. I just wait until I hear the results of it,